I recently visited the RSPB, Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, in Sandy, where I took a number of photographs, which was mainly the woodland. It's just wonderful woodland. But their headquarters is based here. And here we have the lodge, is their headquarters. But it's a wonderful opportunity to paint here because I've got all this light. Got to get this light and dark, and the trees and this lovely cedars there. Wellingtonian firs, I'm not sure, cedars. But I've got to get those darks, and I have attempted this before actually, or a few days ago. I did it on a very small 7 by 8 or something like this, and I'm not happy about it really. It's far too heavy and lost a lot of the light, so I'm going to have another go, but on a much bigger format now. This is I usually paint on the larger stuff. Actually, this is Langton's Prestige 100% cotton, so I'm going to have a go on this larger format, but I still got to try and keep it light. So I'm going to start, well, I'm certainly got to have it very light, very make sure I get my lights in. So I've got to have gentle wash of some colours. Let's have a think. On my palette I've got a mixture of leftover colours, but I want to just get in just a gentle tone, keeping those lights in there. So let's just wash this in. Try and preserve a few areas of light. In here I've got some shrubs that are coming up, because in the foreground there's a ornamental pond, so I want to make sure I kept that, and yes, I think so. Knock out some of these. Try and keep it light though. Light green wash, I think we can go straight for that. So I've got some sap, plenty of water, and I'm going to just wish it in here. And I've got a shadow coming right across here, the lower third, which I'll deal with. We'll put some darker greens in, but let's just go with that for the moment. I could let it dry and then glaze over a darker green. Got mixed feelings which is the best way to do it. If you want soft edges, which I do, it might be a good idea to do it when you've got this wet on wet. So let's just run that in. I think we can put a bit more ultramarine in it, and there's a shadow form really, it's coming. I think we can raise it up a little bit, and if we have these darker forms, it will help us to draw our eyes to be drawn to the contrast between the two. Right, I think we'll do a dab of grey into that actually, and a little more ultramarine when it's still wet. I can do it. leave it too long and you get blooms, nasty blooms. So I want a fairly sharpish edge there, so let's step it up a little bit. There. Right. I'm going to leave it at that. Now let's, as I say, let's stay with my original idea and save some of the, get some lights in. He says he's doing a few darks. Right, let's leave that for the moment. And then put a light wash in the front of our mansion house there. So I've got to, let me think, what shall I do? Is this big enough? Yes, this is a filbert number 11, sort of rounded edge. There's a certain amount of detail in that, but I think I'm going to go for a bit of ochre. Nice sort of sandy colour really, but I've got to keep it light whatever I do on this face. Yes, I think a bit of water, just wash it in there. A few bits on the chimney, yeah, we could do that. Right, and we've got also out here, the front of the other element of the building. There, and there's lots of greenery and things overgrowing the windows and things, but I'm going to stay with that. I think I will. Now it's good to step back and have a little think. Well, we've got to get that roof in, of course, and that is a sort of a little bit reddish. So I think I'm going to, actually I think I'll go for a smaller brush, but with a bit of an edge on it. Little flat there, long, small flat. No, can't see the number. It's a rather old brush, but let's get some darks in for this part of the roof. So I've got some umber here and a bit of Payne's grey. So this element here is really very dark. And that comes down with a sharpish edge to that. Yes, and it comes down behind these little architectural forms there. Bit of a castellation really. Let's do that now. Right. Okay. And what we've got here, we can deal with some of these chimneys. Yes, that comes down, makes a sharp edge there with that, and we've got a bit more light on the one in the front there. So We'll put a slightly different tone on that in a minute. And yes, well, I've got, actually, well, I've got this dark. Could try and do this big fir that I've got here. Great big cedar. And there's a house just there, another bit of office. So I've got to leave that. And we've got another one here. And a very big fir there. So trying to do a bit of a wiggly shape. Trying to suggest more of a fir. That's right, okay. I'm going to stay like that, resisting temptation to do more, which is where I think I went wrong on the other one. So this is a smaller one here. So I'm trying to leave some little holes to suggest we're looking through at the sky. And this is the other featured tree, really. So let's I'm just trying to see there's a shape. Paint what I see rather than my idea of a tree. Otherwise you end up with a sort of generic tree, and you should avoid that. Trees are very individual. We've got one here. Yes, I think that's much better now. And I must put some, yes, and behind here I want to preserve a lighter bit. There's a couple of cedars poking out behind this one with a lighter tree here. Let's put some, so we can put a bit of green in there, I think. Can do that. And also in here, so let's just some there, and we've got a lot of green under this tree here. Right, now this is, I've got to join this mass together here. These two masses of colour and shape. Now let's, yes, we've got this a sort of green hedge along here. In fact, it comes along the front there. Got a lot of green here, so I'm going to vary a little bit. I was using sap, but I'm going to use a bit of viridian and a bit of ultramarine. Make it slightly bluey shape there. Yes, so we've got here Let's get some browns. Give me some raw sienna, I think, which we can start to put in there, and some reds. But here I've got some, let's try and keep it light. It's a very light tree there, I notice, and then it comes darker down along the bottom there. What colour I need to vary a little bit, put a bit of yellow with a bit of lemon yellow with a bit of that green there, all that mixture. Let's see, I think we can step up the yellow because we need variety, give us interest. And here in front, there's as I said, there's an ornamental plant here, and that's very light. So I'm just trying to tickle that in a little bit. And let's put some reds with that sienna and green. Try and give some different tones. Along here I've got a border comes along here with various shrubs, greens, and a bit of a wall as well. So let's it's got some bright green in there too. I think I can let that dry a moment. And we've got some red in that tree. I've got various reds to choose from, but I'm going to just tap a little cadmium in there. It comes out, yeah, it's a beautiful specimen, this. And then a little darker underneath, of course, always much darker under these trees. This need to get that darker, so let's get some ultramarine mixed with those greens and reds so we can vary it a little bit. It's just quite a, there's a window there, I don't know, it comes across the green actually, dark in here. I'll meet it up with this, a little darker there. I'm referring quite strictly to my reference, but got to step back a little bit and say, is that too dark? Yes. Let me think. Yes, I think there was greens over that. And sort of hedge along here. Let's get that in. And just right there. Let's change it again. Let's go for that yellow again. Yes, I think we can do that. Yes, I think so. Let's put some raw sienna in some of these areas. Got too many gaps there. Yes, now I notice. Let's get some appropriate colour here. Yes, we've got one here. Just using the side of the brush there. Gonna put a little bit of red with it too. Now we'll get some greens. A little bit of lawn you can see in the distance there. But there's a big tree here. Now I've got to be very careful with this. It's a fair way in the distance, so I'm just going to try and get the shape. So these are not bright, too dark, these colours. Just enough to... Now there is a little bit more green, so in there, it's using a fairly stiff mixture here. Let's get some other colours there, some sienna. I'm moving around my my picture. I don't work on one element exclusively. I just want to, otherwise you lose track of the overall picture. This is all water in here with some lilies. This pond here. I can make that a bit darker. There's a bed here. Bed over here, more trees, more shrubs. Put that one. Yes, okay. A little dark in some of these areas. Got to put some colour in there in a minute. And this here, this is a bit of a hard landscape. There, we'll try and make that a little stone coloured in a minute. But, right. Just using a bit of water now, try and unify some of that colour, some of those shapes. Now I've still got to do that bit of that chimney, haven't I? Let's clean my brush off well, get a bit of ochre, and yes, these parts of it. And we've got a bit of roof poking out behind there too. Let's a bit of a chimney as well, so I need to try and show that just round here, poking out there. A few structures and our windows. Let's get them more dark here. Let's get the rest of that roof in so you can see a little bit of the shape of this house. Get that roof in. It's a lighter tone. I want it to contrast with that dark tone there. Got a window here. A little architectural feature there. Let's do that. And there's also a bit of a shadowed area just down there. A drain pipe as well. So make sure we've got some straight lines, bit of roof there coming down. Let's give it a little bit of a red so it reads a bit more like a roof. Yes, that's a little bit better. Darker there. Yeah, I think we need to show that better. Right, that'll do that. A few of that terracotta colour on that roof, perhaps a few brick elements. I could do lots of little details, but I've got to avoid doing too much. Now what do I do in here? I've got to get some different colour to fill that gap. There was big shrubs there. Let's do a bit more on that tree. It's out in the distance there, but there are some dark, so we need to put some dark in that. So we've got contrast and righty-ho, let's get some green around there. bit of ochre, I think, on that window there. A little bit more ochre. Fill in some of these gaps. Now, shall I put a bit more detail in that? Well, I've got to put some colour in here, under here, some dark, to try and mark out this tree here. So a bit of almost negative painting. And there's dark behind there too. See some windows there. Trying to suggest the windows here. They're just suggestions. A bit more of a shadow in there, I think. Right. Right, now let's, I think there were certainly dark hedges here. I think I can do that. Greens. I've got to put in some structures that show the branches in some of these. A little too dark, that. Let's put some different colours here. Again, I mustn't. Those lights are just a little bit too vivid. If you have too much chroma, it tends to come forward. You've got to try and strike a balance. Let's get some umber in here and try and suggest some different colours there. Also here. Right. We've got under here, we've got a bit of a shadow from this sort of hard landscape they've done here. In fact, it comes right under here. Right, there's a bit of white here. Now let's think put a little bit darker on these chimneys, I think. They're not reading very well. Raise that roof up a bit. They're really elaborate, these chimneys. Now I think perhaps I need a small brush so we can put some fine lines, some colours in. So what should we go with? Yeah, let's get a little bit. We need some reds. So I've got some cadmium red and some ultramarine. So I think I'm going to just tickle in a few. Almost dry brush here. There's some oranges as well. And let's get a bit of orange in there. Some great gardens here, but it's largely a reserve, or a habitat is designed or managed so it will encourage bird life and nice habitat for them, and well worth a visit. Now I think I need some brighter yellows and greens, I think, in some of my areas. And I think we can do that with here. Put a bit of colour in. Let's get some reds. Now I think behind here we could put in some yellow like that, because it was a band of green, bright green, so I'm going to put a bit of lemon yellow. Clean my brush off a little bit better. See if we can brighten up. Yes, that's bringing in a bit of light, isn't it? A bit of brighter green. So I can do that, I think, because it's dry. So I'm going to go back to my filbert. Make sure I've got a nice bright green and a fairly wet mixture. Yes, I can do that. And then we'll put some more marks in with our dry brush in a minute when this is dry, so I can put some finer detail. I got a feeling though that my hedge needs to come up a lot more. I think it was obscuring that window down there. Quite dark there, and darks in this back area. This is a stiff mixture now on this larger brush. So it hopefully won't bleed. I'll just stipple it in a little bit. Now there was a house there, wasn't there? Or an office building. Can I put a few marks to suggest it? Let's have a go. So I think the way to do that is you get a darker tone and try and make something which is suggests the roof area. It was there, and some windows as well, which we'll do in a minute. But let's see if I can suggest a few fine limbs for these trees here. Right, I think I could put in something there for the windows as well. So let me see, I need the right brush. Let's get a dark bluish and a dry mixture, just there are a couple here, I think. Just thinking, where else can I? Yes, we've got these windows here, just in there. Let's try and suggest something there. Now let's get straight in though. Get some shadow areas. A lot of shadow cast here with this. It was a bright day, very bright. Light is coming left to right, and we've got some steps in there as well. I'll do that in a minute. Should we get some blue into the sky? Yes, I think we need a bit. Let's, oh, I said I was going to try and suggest some windows there, wouldn't I? Yes, we could leave that a moment. So let's get some lovely blue in that sky. It was a fabulous day actually when I visited. So I think I'll get a cerulean, a nice, perhaps. Let's have a look. Yes, let's get just a bit of nice cerulean. And I'm going to be, this will be wet on dry, because I want to try and suggest some clouds. So I've got a bit of bit of cobalt as well. The cerulean, make a little mixture there. So let's just it's always darker at the top. I think I'm going to wash it down, keep it soft here. Sky coming down behind here a little bit. I think we need to have more blue on the top there. The sky is invariably bluer towards the higher part. And let's bring a little bit of light blue so it's we can see it through our tree there. That's what we need. Now I think let's get a really fine brush and see if I can suggest some more interesting shapes to that little bit of pond in the middle there, but I need something really fine to do that with, because it's going to be a fine, yes, maybe. Got so many brushes. Ah yes, here's quite a tiddly one there. So I think I'm going to get some orange, some reds. Let's see if we can different red, put a bit of crimson alizarin here. The gardeners amongst you will probably know what these were. They were certainly fiery red. And we need some, I'm gonna have some darks. Oop, what on earth was that? Got a bit of blue there. This water. Yes, that's a bit better. And then I think I should probably use some gouache as well to try and show some of this hard stone structures here. Put a bit of green on the right, there you go. Let's see, well, this is a little bit, I think think I'm going to soften some of the edges. The damp brush there, give that a little. A little bit of shadow as well. Let's put a bit of umber in there. See what happens to that. It's a little shadow under some of the clouds. Right. Okay. Going to do that. Get a bit of tissue. I think I can dab some of it off. Don't want that blooming. Right. There we go. Now I'm just looking where we could add some details. Should I put more detail in these windows? Yes, let's get something. Here we go. Now, should I brighten this up? In my reference, it's very yellow. That green is very, very yellow and warm. Gives you the sense of warmth. So I think we'll just have a go. This is the trouble with a watercolour. It's, you know, what point you say I'm ahead of the game. But it's a challenge as long as you learn something from it. If it doesn't work out, no problem. So just try and do it better next time. But I've got a nice, and it's dry now, the hair. So I think I can probably get away with that. Yes, I think so. Because this gives us warmth. It's a very warm green. And all along here, because the sun was coming left to right. Again, plenty of water. We can get a nice sweep of it in. And up there. So let's leave it. Oh, I know we can. A little streak of fairly stiff paint down there. Right. Now let's leave that for the moment before we regret it. I could though, I need to, it's always a good idea to put a bit of straight lines sometimes to, when architectural things under those eaves, you get a little, helps the eye. A little bit of shadow perhaps under these lines here. Yep, I think we'll do that. could, I notice, to show this edges in the shadow, this stonework. They're in the shadow there. I've got a line that comes along where it meets the grass. I guess a little darker there. I say we've got some sort of flags there and darker in there. And here there's some steps where you can go up into the house. Some pillar there. And this is a wall, some dry stone wall there. I've tried to leave a few lights there to suggest it. It's got far more dark here. There's more of an ornamental pond behind, which I'm not really showing too well. We can just suggest it there. Say that's our house. More office building there. You can see that hidden away in the trees there. Right. Right, let's get a bit of gouache in and see if we can delineate some highlights. It's always good to have a few bright lights. I can see on the wall, yes, there's a couple of opportunities here. So going back to that very small brush, give it a good clean, and I'm going to use this Winsor & Newton. Can you see that? Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache. And we'll put some on these highlights, some of the building and wall. Yes, I can see now we could do that part of that wall there, just catching the light. It goes a little bit round there, and here too. Yes, it comes all along here, and we get some lights out here, and on this wall I can help show that dry stone walling, really. Steps there, a bit more wall there, and should we do some lights on the, yes, I think on the front of some of these chimneys. They're catching a bit of light there, and also this balustrade or decorative feature and a little pinnacle there. And also we could put some lights out here. Perhaps we could do something with that house to show, or it's not a house, it's an office building actually. So we'll do that. few lights here and there. Bit of that wall there. Bit on that chimney. Yes, I can see on my reference there catching quite a splash of light on that big rank of chimneys there. And also a bit more of the ornamental nature of that pond is showing through there. So I think I should probably leave it now. Yes, there's a little, comes down there actually, that piece there. Right. And you could put a few marks to help show these marks on their windows, all the mullions and whatever. Well, that's the finished painting of the lodge at Sandy in Bedfordshire. I think it's an improvement over my first attempt. It's much lighter, especially in the background. Can you see the trees here? A much lighter touch than I had formerly. And I'm getting out of focus, but the house and the office building there is a little bit more detailed, I think. But it's still a loose interpretation, which is my style. I think I've done a little better job on this ornamental pond here. Put some gouache around the edge so we can see it's a structure. And of course we've got all the shadows coming along here as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.